Thursday, April 21st, 2022, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today, we're going to look at how the petrodollar is on its last legs as U.S. and Saudi ties hit a breaking point, according to the Wall Street Journal. And I've been covering the petrodollar for many years. I even have a petrodollar file as a playlist. If you want to watch some of those videos, it will help you understand what the petrodollar is all about. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but I will give you like a brief summary, really, of what the petrodollar is. So back in 1971, President Nixon closed the gold window. Up until August 15th, 1971, the dollar was convertible into gold at $35 an ounce. And any country that had signed the Bretton Woods Agreement could go to the U.S. Treasury and exchange Federal Reserve notes or U.S. dollars at that rate. But then the United States, of course, started printing too many dollars without gold backing, and mainly because of the Vietnam War and the Great Society programs to eradicate poverty by Lyndon Johnson in the 60s. And by 1971, after years of running huge current account and trade deficits, the U.S. was losing all of its gold, or most of it. And so basically President Nixon defaulted, said we will suspend the convertibility of the dollar into gold at $35 an ounce temporarily. So the U.S. had a problem here because the only reason the dollar was the major reserve currency was because it was as good as gold. The U.S. had most of the gold reserves after World War II, but by now they'd lost a lot of it. So they had to find a way to increase demand for dollars, and hence came the agreement between the U.S. and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, whereby Saudi Arabia sold all its oil in dollars, and at the time Saudi Arabia was the biggest oil producer and the main country in OPEC, and the U.S. would in exchange defend militarily the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The Saudis would also recycle their dollars into treasuries, and by doing that, it made all the other countries in the world have to do that, because every country doesn't produce enough oil for their domestic consumption, so they have to buy oil. So they always have to have some dollars. But as you will see in some of my previous videos about the petrodollar, and I recommend one called China Delivers a Death Blow to the Petrodollar. That was from September 2017. I'm going to put it up in the cards. I talk about how China, back in 2017, was already developing mechanisms like metals exchanges, energy exchanges, precious metals exchanges, to be for international, that is, for companies and countries from all around the world to be able to exchange commodities for the yuan and at the same time for gold. And at the time, I told people this is going to take a while because people expected something to happen overnight. But now also Russia is getting involved, of course, because of all the sanctions and what's going on. And we know as well that Russia made an agreement, I think it was last year in August, with the Saudis to provide them military help and assistance, which is pretty much doesn't go hand in hand with the U.S. agreement. It kind of shows that the Saudis are looking for an alternative. And this article in the Wall Street Journal here And I'm going to put a link to it below in the description. And if you don't pay for the Wall Street Journal, don't worry. It's under archive.ph, so you can read the whole thing. So the title is How U.S.-Saudi Relations Reached the Breaking Point. And it was published online on April 19th. It says the decades-long alliance is at risk over disagreements regarding oil production levels, security concerns, and the invasion of Ukraine. So I've gone through this article. It looks like there's a bit of animosity between the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, and the U.S. administration, and also Congress. Congress is not happy with Saudi Arabia, especially with what happened to Khashoggi. And you go through this article, and the officials from both countries, they try to paint a good picture that they're still cooperating. But the fact that they've set up meetings and broken those appointments because they didn't want to, it is not good. And also President Biden, and probably because Congress doesn't want this, doesn't recognize Prince Mohammed bin Salman as the leader of Saudi Arabia. And that's a problem because he can still be prosecuted. If he was the head of state, he would be immune. So there's a lot of different things. And not just that, in my video from 2017, I talk about how the Saudis are cooperating with the Chinese. And why would the Chinese really want to pay the Saudis in dollars? And seeing that the Chinese are becoming much, much more important customers for Saudi Arabia, I think it's only a matter of time. And also with what's happening in Russia, a lot of other countries around the world, in the global south, so to speak, they're saying to themselves, why do we need dollars to deal with each other, or to deal with Saudi Arabia, China, Russia? And I think, yes, the demise of the petrodollar is a little bit like that comment about going bankrupt. First it's slow, and then all of a sudden you're broke. And I think that's what's happening to the petrodollar. Does that mean that it's the end of the dollar? No, the petrodollar. It's just that the dollar, a lot of the dollars that are abroad, because all these countries need dollars to buy commodities. If they don't need it anymore, they're going to be repatriating or sending those dollars back to the US. And that's going to increase the supply of dollars. And I think that's what a lot of the inflation, the rising prices, is all about. And I think it's just started. So I think the inflation in the US and also Western Europe, because the Western Europe and NATO countries, they are on a dollar-based system. So the inflation is going to be pretty bad as the petrodollar becomes less and less important. So yes, I think we're very close to the demise of the petrodollar. So yes, and I remember when I started talking about this, probably back in 2016, 2017, and I told people the petrodollar was like a super tanker, and the pun is intended. And it takes a very long time to change course on a super tanker. And that's what I told people, you need to be patient. And I think the super tanker is just about turning south, so to speak. It's not like a dinghy where you go very quickly. So that's why it's taking longer. And how do you protect yourself in the US or in Western Europe? Well, you position yourself investments if you're lucky enough to have savings and investments. I think it's important that you have some hard assets, commodities, precious metals. Precious metals, of course, are liquid hard assets. So yeah, with that, Let's quickly look at where the markets are this morning. Just wanted to say, I haven't been very well since yesterday morning, and maybe this is why this video is going to be a little shorter than usual. I don't know what it is. I've got a bad headache and my stomach feels funny, but and I haven't eaten that much, so probably just need more rest. I was going to play golf yesterday and I didn't. So it's 8:37 a.m. London time. So we've got spot gold at 1951.60, is down about $6. High has been 1959. The low has been 1949.60. Silver is down 13 cents at 25.05. High's been 25.24 and the low 24.96. The Dow futures up 150 points, just under 0.5%. The NASDAQ 100 futures up 109 or 0.75%. And the S&P 500 is up 25 points or 0.5%. The FTSE is up 10 points at 76.31. And the Euro Stoxx 50 is up 23 points, 39.19. So the stock markets continue to rebound quite fairly strongly, I would say. We'll have to wait and see if it's a counter trend rally. I think it still is. To the currencies, the pound is unchanged, 130.66. The euro is up almost 2/3% at 109.15. The dollar is unchanged versus the yen, 127.94. And yeah, the dollar continues to rise quite sharply, I would say, versus the yuan. It's up over 1/3% at 646.80. And the dollar is down slightly versus the Swiss franc, 94.72. Aussie dollar is unchanged, 74.47. The dollar is down 0.25% versus the Canadian dollar, 124.65. And the Kiwi dollar is down 0.2% at 67.92. To the general commodities, WTI crude is up 1.8% at 103.92. Brent crude is up 1.8 as well at 108.35. High-grade copper is up 0.5% at 469. And U.S. nat gas is down 1.3% at 695. To finish off, the 10-year yield is up 2 basis points, around 286. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.